Hey YouTube, it's Taki with TaqiTech. Okay, so we're working on the hair column now at this point. If we go to our names tab, we see that the hair color is the next topic or next column on our list. And that's what we're working on here. Now, ideally, this would say yes, and then we would be making the hair, but I wanted to get the functionality working first. So today we're going to talk about the code I used to generate this. We're going to do this in two parts. In this video, we're just going to talk about the do loop. Now, a couple of updates if you're keeping up with the code here. After print both names, at the very end, I changed the column count equal to 2. And that's because if there's a names and a gender row, or I'm sorry, names and gender column, then that should be 2. And previously it was 1 and it was giving me problems. Now, into our get hair color subroutine. I have two variables here. One is total number of names, and that's just counting when we go back to our main sheet here and we go back to the names tab, we're just counting these two these two cells. Now it would equal 5 in this instance. And then we have what I call a do x. Now some people just make it an x, but basically it's just a variable that we're going to use in a loop. And a loop basically is a series of code that just runs the same instructions until a specific condition is fulfilled. And there's three off the top of my head. There might be more. I might be missing one here. I didn't really do a whole lot of research. I'm just going off the top of my head here for this. But there's three that I can think of. There's a do while, a do until, and a for loop. And they kind of differ from language to language. And I'm pretty sure with VBA, that's all there is. There's a do while, do until, and a for next. I mean, and we'll cover that in future videos as well. We'll use every single one of them at some point for something, even though they pretty much all do the same thing, and it's basically more of a style thing. It's more what you're comfortable with using. The computers run so fast these days. Efficiency, like we wouldn't be doing pretty links if we were talking about efficiency, because we're going all the way back down to a different subroutine just to read it, if condition. That's adding 2 or 3 lines of code. That's not necessarily efficient, but I think the loss of efficiency is outweighed by the clarity in the code. That's a digression. So let's get back here to the code. So first thing we're going to do in this subroutine is we are going to make the header column, passing the name in, and we're passing a new sheet name in. And this is something I need to think about as well. Do we need to continuously, should I make new sheet name available to all of the modules? And if that is the case, then I won't need to pass it in anymore. So that's something that we'll address in a future video as we get further along in the project. Here I initialize the do x variable. Initialize means give a value to a variable, and usually you want to do this right after you declare it, or pretty soon after you declare it. So I initialize it to 0 because I want it to start at 0. Then I get my total number of names, like I said before, and that's going to be 5. As we go back to our names tab, we just count these 2 cells right there. Okay, now here is what I used in this part of the project. I did a do until loop. Basically what I said was I want to run these 2 lines of code until this number equals total number of names. So total number of names equals 5. This is equal to 0, so this should run 5 times. And basically what will happen is that I will get my 5 results here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My 5 results right there. Let's step into the code. So it's going to run this. This is saying active workbook sheets new name, so whatever we call this project. And then it's going to go to a specific cell in row, and this is 0 plus 2, so it's going to be starting off with row 2, and the column count will be equal to 3 because it was I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, whenever we make a header, we increase the column count. So as soon as that new header is made, then we know we have a new column. The column count is now 3. And then we call a new subroutine that we'll talk about in the next video called hair color. And that's going to give us the hair color. And the next line of code, we just increase this do variable to 1. By 1, I'm sorry. And it will equal 1 in this instance. So now we're going to step through again. Now this do until do x, which is equal to 1, equals 5. And it's only 1, so it's going to do it again. We're now going to be putting the information into cell row 3, column 3, and then another hair color. Increase this again. Now it is 2. Do until, so now it's 2 equal to 5. Putting it in column 4. I'm sorry, row 4, column 3. And then we're going to go down again. So now it is I lost count. But when we run this in the next video, you will see that this is basically iterates by 1. It keeps adding 1 to it, and eventually 5 equals 5, and then we step out of it and we end this up. And then we should have basically all of our hair colors implemented or put inside the cell. So alright guys, well, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you like the content on this channel, make sure you subscribe. Oh, let me talk about one more thing here. So I did leave some notes here for a purpose. Now you might see here, total number of names equals 0. I was trying to get rid of the iteration variable. And when we say iteration variable, let me be clear here. It's not a special variable. It's just an integer like total number of names is an integer. But the only purpose of it is just to keep track of what number are we on in the do statement or do loop. So that when I say iteration variable, I try to get rid of it. I try to just say do until total number of names equals 0. And that worked fine, except for I wasn't able to keep track of what row I needed to put the information in, and I couldn't figure out. Here you can see here I was trying to figure out the math behind it, and I wasn't able to. So if you figure that out, if you give me a formula, go ahead and put that in the comments. If you have anything else you want to add, make sure you put that in the comments. And thanks for watching. Until next time, take it easy.